That's JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Tonight, it's Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The home team still yet to win. Could that change tonight? Well, Indy leads that series 2-1. Game 4, set in Indy, set for 6:30. Right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Mackenzie Mbako's a projected second-round pick, withdrawing his name from the NBA draft, headed back to Texas A&M.
If you smoke, take it outside. Get the facts at don'tpassgas.org.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate y'all riding through tonight. However y'all may be joining me, whether that's on 94.1 on your FM dial, if you happen to be listening online via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio vault at sasportstar.com, or if you happen to be watching on YouTube. That's right, we stream all of our shows live on YouTube, whether that's the Morning Huddle with Rob and AJ from 6 to 10, if it's the Blitz with Jason and Joe from 2 to 6, or right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure from 6 to 7. We've got you covered. Just go to YouTube, search at SA Sports Star. Go ahead and like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show as it happens, like Fred Records, who says the Cowboys he hopes the Cowboys don't go after Jalen Ramsey and his $20+ million salary. I couldn't agree with you more. A declining player in his 30s, probably not worth the investment at that point in time with a Jalen Ramsey. Now, does his price come down if he's a June 1 cut? Maybe. Then we can talk and see if you're paying him $10 million, does that change the math on whether you want him on your team for a year or not? But things to get into. One of the big things to get into, we've got NBA playoff basketball going on. We got a big game tonight, and earlier this morning, Rob was talking about the games and how they've affected and the way Oklahoma City looks and how you build your teams moving forward. And of course, you know, that circles back to the San Antonio Spurs and their future and how that could spur things going forward. Pardon the pun.
My oldest Jack came over yesterday for the grilling.
Yeah.
In the pool. It was good to see him and his betrothed and the friends.
Okay.
We were talking, and my son is a basketball head, a junkie. He's a frequent contributor to Spurs Zone and does a lot of stuff. I value his opinion. He is hard on the Giannis deal, as is AJ, and a lot. I think it's probably. I don't think anybody would be upset if the Spurs.
What would we give up?
Well, it would cost
a bunch of picks,
everything,
right?
But we would assume Steph Castle and De'Aaron Fox.
As long as we keep those two.
Everybody, and of course Wemby. But the assumption is if they were going to go do it, that it would involve everybody to the right of them, whoever they wanted, plus draft picks and all the stuff that would have to make this thing work. If you're down with that, I don't think anybody would be upset if the trade was made today. I think we would wave fondly and sadly goodbye to a bunch of guys that we like, but at the end of the day, the team would get better. But as I was telling Jack and the guys yesterday, I've been in the Spurs orbit now for 26 years. And as we went through Memorial Day and watched the Memorial Day miracle as we do annually, and you put what Sean did back in 1999, yesterday felt strangely sentimental. I mean, whenever I see Sean make the Memorial Day miracle shot, it always takes us back to that moment. But that moment kind of was the springboard for me. My media career began with that shot and the imminent success of the Spurs. And I think yesterday it felt very much a little bit more sentimental for me anyway, because I feel like we're about to start a new book, a new chapter in the Spurs history where it was over. That last chapter was over 4 or 5 years ago as Tim said goodbye. The new one is beginning now because you just feel like not only with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle and the 2 draft picks that for the next 5 to 6 years, the conversations about the Spurs will be playoffs and they'll be playing into April and May, and we're going to really get back into that curve. And yesterday felt very like it's kind of the end because we're finally going to get ourselves back on track after these many years. And as we were talking about the potential to, fast track that improvement by making the deal for Giannis, I was telling the guys, I've been around this group for a long time. And the Spurs just aren't wheeler dealers. They've only made one really huge trade in their history, and that was when they traded Gervin for Artis Gilmore in parts back in the early 80s. Now, there's been some free agencies, and there's been some moves, but nothing like what we're talking about. This is one of those generational moves that would happen. So the possibility of it happening just because of that are slim. And then you look at what Oklahoma City is doing and how they're winning this thing. And they're doing it the way that's in Pop's vision and R.C. Buford's vision, and the guy that helped to start this whole process way back when, Sam Presti. And this dude put together a team of a bunch of defensive dogs that they want to play defense more than they want to shoot. They'd rather stop you at midcourt than pull up for 3. When you watch the way, especially Caruso and Dort play, those are talented dudes that are findable. You can find guys in every draft that play defense with a dogged attitude like those 2 guys, and you don't have to draft high. If you're appropriate in your search, you will find them, and you don't got to pay them much, and they'll do everything. They're like going and getting a rescue dog. Alex Caruso is the terrier of unknown origin that you went and got and brought him home, and he will do anything for you because he knows what life is like on the streets. They went and got Ketty Big Balls. They went and got dudes that just come to work. Now, they're good dudes. They're first and second round draft picks. I mean, these are guys of talent, but they match and they fit and they work well, and they're not big. They're not overly gifted. Jay Will's got some. We saw that. But for the most part, Oklahoma City put together exactly what the Spurs are going to do. We're going to mimic that. We're going to mimic what we did before. We're going to draft dudes that do what we want them to do first. We're not going to overpay them. And we want them to come here and sacrifice all to go get it because we got our stars. They're already here. So when we draft, if it's Dylan Harper, if that 14th pick comes around and we draft a dude with a French name or that his name ends in a vowel or somebody you don't know, trust me, he's here. Because looking north, look at what Oklahoma City did. By the numbers, slow burn. It started when Chris Paul landed with OKC in the bubble. And they saw from that moment on, they've got a future with some of these dudes. And they were conscious about who they went and got. And they built this team to last and to play anybody. And the irony of all this is, as we talk about making a huge deal, and I wouldn't put it past the Spurs, and we'll talk about in the next break what the expectation is. If it's not Giannis, what do you think will happen?
Well, if it's not Giannis, there's a lot of things that can happen because, as Rob brings up the Oklahoma City method, they didn't go get a big splash. They didn't go make the big play. They went and got an Isaiah Hartenstein and an Alex Caruso, guys that fit what they were building there, guys that didn't need the ball. They knew they were building around SGA, Chet, and to an extent, Lou Dort. Like that's Jalen Williams. Like those are the guys that they're building around. Now they're looking for pieces to fit around everything else. I mean, Spurs kind of seemingly have those pieces in place too. When you talk about Wemby, Fox, and now Castle, is it time to start filling in the edges instead of trying to cram more big pieces into the middle? We'll discuss next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM,
San Antonio Sports Star.
Big cash giveaway, yeah. 250 grand, yes. The next 10 months, GimmeTheVin.com is giving back. Everyone that sells us their car gets put in the drawing, and monthly we're pulling out 25 grand and giving it to you. So not only are we the top of the market buyer, but you got a chance to win 25 grand. That's what we mean by big cash giveaway. GiveMeTheVin.com. They don't call us America's best car buyer for nothing.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hey, listen up, San Antonio. Multiple tours overseas, long nights monitoring cyber activity, years of protecting the country. It all adds up at University of Maryland Global Campus. Earn up to 90 credits for prior learning, military experience, and training. We call that credit where credit is due. Whether you're active duty and looking at what's next, or a veteran looking for something new, our degrees and certificate programs teach the application of emerging technologies and enduring life skills. So get started on a degree or certificate with personalized local support services and online and hybrid courses right here in San Antonio. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Apply now and save with no application fee through May 30th. Visit UMGC at San Antonio or umgc.edu/SATX.
Imagine selling your home and getting paid before and after it sells. It's like getting paid twice. Jason Innings here from San Antonio Sports Star. You can do that with Orchard. Orchard puts cash into your pockets. You can buy your dream home. Then your Orchard experts prepare and market your old home, including repairs, showings, even price-boosting upgrades. And here's why Orchard's the best. When your home sells for more, which happens 9 times out of 10, you get that cash too. It's almost like getting paid twice. That's why Orchard is the smarter, faster, hassle-free way to sell your home. Orchard can unlock cash from your old home to use on your new home. That's payday 1. Then you buy your new place, and once you're in, Orchard sells your old home for top dollar. You get that money too. Boom, payday 2. Learn how you can make more with Orchard. Start with your free home valuation at Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
The water coming in and out of your home is like music. Here in San Antonio in the Hill Country, it is hard. Now that's hard. At the same time, those that know have a Connecticut quality water softener and enjoy this. Smooth, soft, pure, clean water. The difference is astounding. Hard water, soft water. If you don't have a Connecticut water softener in your home, you're basically inviting destructive hard water to beat up your appliances, hot water heater, and every pipe in your home. And your coffee maker, hard water damages it too. Call me for a free home water evaluation at 656 Pure.
For a limited time, get a free reverse osmosis drinking station, $400 off a trade-in, and 0% interest for 12 months. Call Connecticut of San Antonio in the Hill Country, 210-656-PURE.
Connecticut is simply the very best water softener you can buy, and that's why we say it's the last water softener you'll ever own. Don't live with. Live with
656 Pure Connecticut.
License number 38961.
Here in Texas, we know that trust is earned and reputation matters. Since 1993, Thomas J. Henry dedicated himself to building a firm that injured clients can trust and that Texans can respect. A firm where no defendant is too big and no case is too small. Backed by a track record of success and a commitment to our clients, Thomas J. Henry remains the name you can depend on if you have been injured. Trust the firm that stands for you. Trust Thomas J. Henry. San Antonio, Texas.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate everybody riding along with me tonight. If you want to talk about what's going on, feel free to call in 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or you can comment along on our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star on YouTube. A lot talking about what's going on with the Cowboys. Asante Samuel coming off a neck injury, not sure if he's at a point where he can play or not. Mike Hilton's a good name that I would keep an eye on, that Jason brought up earlier during the Blitz, and I brought up earlier this offseason, especially seeing as he is still a free agent. That means his price probably coming down a little bit. Jalen Ramsey, 20+ million. I'm just not there yet. He's not the one piece that you need. And he is an aging corner who's seemingly progressively starting to decline as the years have gone on. And as those start to fall, the fall is going to be precipitous at some point. It's been slight. At some point, it's going to go downhill fast for a corner. And I've heard talks about playing him at safety. Sure, whatever. If I'm a Cowboys fan, not at that price point. That number's got to come way down. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. We're also talking about how you build out the Spurs moving forward. Wes called in. Wes, welcome into Extra Innings with Pledge. What's going on, my man?
Pledge, it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for letting me get a few moments with you.
Of course, man. What's going on?
The more time that's gone on since the last time I was able to chat with you about this, the more time I've come to the realization that Giannis is not the answer for the Spurs. And I know it's still the sexy topic for everybody, but honestly, Shams, Sharney put it out today, and I think he might be onto something today about still being active, still being really aggressive, being the Spurs are to try to get somebody to fill out that roster, to be that other person, that missing link. And he mentioned that Durant would be a lot cheaper. It wouldn't cost the Spurs nearly as much. They'd be able to keep a lot more of their assets.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself that this kind of feels like when the Spurs were needing to find the right combination after the 2007 season when they went through that little bit of a time where they're deciding, well, it's Tony's team and Manu is still very relevant and Tim is still Tim, but they needed those extra guys. And so, it reminds me of that. They always brought in pieces and guys that were within the realm. I will say this. It also does remind me a little bit about the mid-2000 Spurs, and we said this together with Michael Finley. He still had something left in the tank. He was still a really good commodity. We hated him with the Mavericks, obviously, but he was a really good piece for the Spurs. And I kind of feel like Durant, it just depends on what his attitude would be about the situation. But if he's willing to be that guy who would be your second or maybe your third option on any given night and extend his career, to me, he might actually make the most sense in terms of being a guy who could take the pressure off of both Wembanyama and, for that matter, De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got Fox, you've got Wemby, and I think Castle's probably a third in that group. How many more big guys do you need? And I get it, Kevin Durant's at least a guy that doesn't necessitate needing the ball to be effective, so he fits better if you're trying to expedite things. But I'm looking at what Oklahoma City's done. I'm looking like Giannis ain't it in terms of it's a ball dominant. It's somebody that needs the ball in their hands. And It is just it is trying to make another puzzle piece fit that just you've got too many mouths to feed as it is. And I'm starting to look at these other teams, and you've got Nemhard and Matherin and Obi Toppin and Miles Turner. Like the teams that are left in the playoffs are deep. They have multiple options. They have a guy. They might have two guys, but they can move the ball around and find help other places. And I think the Spurs need to focus on that, because the more big name, big money stars you add, the less you're able to surround that talent with. Look at what happened in Phoenix after they got their three big money guys. They couldn't put a competent team around the rest of that team because of how much salary cap that team was demanding. And so I look at also trying to find, like, the reason it worked in Miami, Chris Bosh was willing to take the back seat. You got to have a star that is willing to take that back. It worked in Golden State because Kevin Durant didn't have to be the guy. And your other two guys, Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, didn't need the ball in their hand. Klay Thompson can score on 37 points on 3 dribbles. He didn't need the ball to be effective. That's why that worked there. Now you've got Castle and Fox and Wemby. Wemby, you got to figure out a way to get him the ball. Fox is your main initiator, and Castle's a guy who can play off the ball. Now you got to start filling in around him the way the Thunder have with SGA. I mean, you've got SGA, you've got Chet, you've got Jalen Williams. What have they gone and done? They've found pieces to fit around that core that don't command the basketball in order to be effective. They find it within the flow of the offense. And
let me ask you this.
You have to start thinking about the San Antonio Spurs and how they build this roster going forward.
Let me ask you this, though, and this is an honest question. If you have a guy like Castle and you were to bring on a guy who, obviously with the second pick, we're talking that Harper could be that guy. My thought with the dynamics to that as well is it best for them to keep that second pick? Or, I mean, it's been out there and we all think it's kind of not a great idea, but the Nets giving back some capital plus giving the Spurs still a pick that they can swap in the first round or in the lottery. I could see that. My only question, though, is it feasible to say, if you were to bring a Durant on base, could you have a Steph Castle become the sixth man in the NBA?
I got you, and I'll talk to you a little bit off air because we're coming up for the NBA right here, Eastern Conference Finals, Game 4, Knicks and Pacers. But, I mean, the Cam Johnson thing intrigues me. Now, if it's 2, I better be getting 8, and I can shuffle 14 off for future picks. But Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, it solves the shooter and the big. You got a wing at 6'8" with Cam Johnson that can defend multiple. You got a bouncy big coming off the bench that can help provide that depth at the 5 and protect Wemby. Those are things that I would be looking at if I'm potentially moving off of Ron Harper. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Do you disregard people's personal space? Sitting next to people in public, even if there are tons of open seats? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. It's Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale. Now through Tuesday, save up to 70% on top brands and get a queen for just $89.99, the lowest price ever. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.